Morning all. How are we? Trying something new today with a boarding soon screen. Mostly it was also an attempt to see if the stream was going to crash within the first minute or two. I think, dare I say it, I think we're okay now with the technical issues. Those that have been with us for the last few streams will know it's been plaguing us. So what have we done? We have rolled back our Nvidia drivers as per my video. However, I'm still getting OBS crashes. Morning Tim. Morning Wessam. Nice to see you again, Wessam. Happy summer break. But yeah, we've so what have we done? Bought a 4070. 4070 kept crashing the sim. Tried to roll back the drivers, wasn't allowed to because the 4070 was too new for those drivers. Installed the 3070 again, rolled back the drivers, stopped the sim crashes. OBS crashes still continued. So I've rolled back to an older version of OBS. And I did a load of recording last night, just me, not live, just me flying around and yeah, stuff like that. And it was fine. I've managed to narrow it down to the browser sources within OBS that was causing the crash by sort of analysing the crash logs, which is basically this stuff, the map and the information at the top. So hopefully the stream won't crash now that I've enabled that. Oh, Wessam, you've upgraded your PC. Congrats on 4K subs, thank you. Maybe we'll do something for 5K. Maybe we can do like a transatlantic or something cool, if I can carve out the time. What did you upgrade to, Wessam? Come on, spill the beans. Don't know how much more an expensive 4090 is. Yeah, so my 4070 was about £600. Well, 594, I think it was, something like that. I forget. And they were giving away a free copy of Diablo 4. And I was like, well, I want to play Diablo 4 anyway, because I do a lot of like traditional gaming aside from simming. So I was like, sweet, let's get that. And it's just nothing but a nightmare. So that's 600. 4090, you're probably looking at between 1600 and 1800, which is a fair old chunk of change. Other options, I could have gone 4070 Ti for like 800, but it bothered me spending that amount of money and only getting 12 gig of VRAM. That felt a little bit not good. 4080 solves the RAM issue, more powerful, but you're sort of looking 11, 12, 1300 pounds depending on the model. So I don't know. I'm running in 1080p now. The other issue we had the other day was that my OBS was saying my encoder was overloaded, which is odd because I've never had that before. And I thought maybe if I roll back, that will solve that issue as well. But last night I got the issue again, which is a bit weird. So my 4K TV I've got set to 1080p, the sim is running in 1080p, OBS is capturing the game at 1080p, streaming to YouTube in 1080p, the whole pipeline is 1080p. So with a bit of luck, that'll make life a little bit easier on all of us, not least of all me. So what CPU did you go for, Wessam? I'm curious because I'm looking at an upgrade in that department myself, because one of the disappointments of the 4070 was that I was still massively CPU limited. And I know there's frame generation to kind of sidestep that issue, but the reality is it isn't that good if you haven't got a load of frames to start with. Right, why is my tablet so dim? Got to be a brightness thing here somewhere, right? Aha. There we go. Right, let's pull in our flight plan. I9, damn. Damn. 13900 KF. Whew. Wessam. Way to go. That's how we do it. That's how we go. And I love the F variants as well. Because the F is basically, doesn't have an integrated GPU on the processor. I had an i7, the performance difference is insane, yeah. Yeah, no doubt. What i7 did you have? Let's just pull in our fuel here for a second. Is that all the fuel we need? Seriously? 16,000. Of course, I'm used to the A320 where it's like, that amount would be nothing, but that is still 16,000 kilograms of fuel. Oh, 8700K, yeah, so you had an 8. Yeah, that makes sense. A friend of mine had that. Great chip. But, obviously, times change. As I'm finding out as well. Okay, let's see if we can get a jet bridge. Baggage truck, catering truck. Ground power unit. Oh, cool. We're boarding kind of midway back. So the catering truck's going to the front on this one. That's interesting. So really, we need to get up in the air by 10 today. 10 AM. So if you've gone 13900, well, so have you gone DDR5 or DDR4? Because you can go either way, depending on the motherboard you buy. But why isn't the baggage loading? Is it waiting for catering to finish, I wonder? I wonder. Alright, let's begin boarding. Fast mode. DDR5, nice. That is brilliant. Wonderful stuff. Okay, let's make sure throttles are in idle. Gear is down. Engine switches are off. Flaps, of course, are speed brakes because I've been in the menus. I've decided to do that. Right. So before the stream started, I just popped the batteries on and did external power, but that's all I've done. So we will do APU master. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to try and start this like I would start an A320 and see if there are any differences that come up. We're just waiting for this one to turn to available. How are we doing outside? Catering trucks doing its thing. I tell you what, I really like this livery. I know it's like a stock livery and we're using it today because I kind of wanted to give the Headwind team a bit of a shout out. Rather than use one of my own or, you know, whatever, but... Morning, Ashy. Okay, nice. Boarding is continuing. APU is now available. Good. APU bleed on. Do our navs. 1, 2, 3. Oxygen crew supply. Arm the emergency lights. No smoking lights to on. Nav and logo. Good. Do the fuel pumps. So I'm right in thinking that this has VNAV. So they forked obviously a lot of the systems from the fly-by-wire A330X. It's almost like they've jumped the gun a little bit and put VNAV in, I think, or managed climb, I should say. But let's brighten these up. Brighten up the ND. Seven minutes until we're aligned on the IRS. Which I'll be honest, I had not considered that that was in slow mode still. So we'll have to wait for that. Thousand watts, damn. Westham, you could put like a 4090 in that. I do like US Ops. I tend to do them on the evening streams, just so we get live weather and it's kind of daytime, and I kind of like doing it that way. Just brighten those two up, even though we're not going to be over there. Okay, what is local pressure? 1023. Well, what's the... Oh, we got a wind. Got a wind down in Palma. Ooh. Although that is the direction that we're going to be landing in, so hopefully that'll just be a tailwind, so we'll keep an eye on the flare and hopefully that'll be fine. So what was I doing? 1023. Let's brighten those a little bit. Happy days, boarding's completed. Right, and that one. That one. I'm interested to see how this is going to work with our pushback tool. Ooh, this looks different.
Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, on behalf of myself, your captain, the first
ATSC, AOC, init pres, init data request. Days. So the first thing I'm noticing is that the font's a different colour, which is kind of interesting. Go to init request, that will phone home to SimBrief. There we go. Minus 42. That. Minus 42 into flex to temp. Flaps on for takeoff. $141. These numbers are much higher than what we're used to in the A320, of course. V2 149. Oh, cool. Enjoy the flight. Right, it's going to F-plan. EDDF. We'll take off from runway 18 using a neck 3A, I believe. That'll do. 3 minutes until our nav comes on. Runway 18 for departure. I'll do ILS 06 using there it is, Looney. Okay, so SimBrief says Looney 2K. We've got J and M. So we'll go for J. Morning, Ekibris. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Apologies if I'm not. Just consulting some charts a moment. Go via ADX. See what happens there. Alright, 1 minute till we've got some nav. Which is kind of good. Catering is still there. Let's get rid of catering. Oh, of course, yeah, you are on X-Blade, aren't you? I forget. It's a tricky one, isn't it, when a plane already exists as a really good freeware version and then a paid version comes out. Hey, look at that. We have flight plan. Right, so let's just step through this. So runway 18. Takeoff. Let's zoom ourselves out a little bit. Make sure we're good here. Okay, so we go to RID. So airport, RID, Aneki. Clear that discontinuity there. Join those two, that's good. And we're going to see what a mess I've made on the way in. It's all looking okay. Oh, ADX. I went the wrong way. Alright, what we'll do is we will clear ADX. We will clear that one. And that one. We'll take manual control at MJV. Keep going straight. Bring ourselves around and fly the approach by hand. I think that's what we'll do. Because we'll be at 4,000 at MJV, that's great. And then from there, it wants us at 1900 for CF06 left, which is fine. And in we'll go. Perfect. That'll do nicely. Alright, both flight directors are on. Let's get rid of the jet bridge because we're now boarded, of course. Doors closed. Local pressure is set. Let's lock the doors. Predictive wind shear to auto. I'll do auto and standby for that. Not that it matters a huge amount today, of course. Good. I think we're nearly ready for a pushback. Let's just check up top here. It's all looking good. Fuel pumps are on. Everything's looking happy. We'll turn our beacon light on. Ready for our pushback. Oh, damn it. I didn't want that to happen. Stop pushback. Meant to press the other button. Pre-plan pushback. That's what I meant to do. Yeah, that is very zoomed in, but okay. Okay, we'll go with that. Let's request pushback. And yeah, we'll get on that yellow line. That's good. Good. Right, parking brake off. There we go. That's working nicely. Let's get the engine selector into ignition. Here we go. The sounds are so much better in this version. We go to the inside view. Well, that's a bit loud, isn't it? Flap set to 1. The engine sounds are so much better. It's unbelievable. I love it. Amazing. Okay, parking brake back on. Hopefully then tug will lower us. There we go. That's good. I can do some final bits and pieces here. Auto brake max. Good. We put the start switch back into normal. Get our strobe on. Or strobe to auto rather. Taxi lights on. Should have done seat belts before we push back, that was my bad. As for the way out, what are we doing on the way out? Flight level 290. Are there any restrictions prior to us getting there? No, there is not. But let's just put 290 in the window. It's a bit low today. I'm surprised. I guess SimBrief knows better than I do. Put the constraints on the ND as well. Terrain on ND. Sweet, let's do that. We get weather on the ND as well, isn't that a thing now? How do we get that on there? I'm not entirely sure. Not entirely sure is the honest answer. Not entirely sure. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Have a look when we're up in the air, maybe. Because frankly, we need to get going, otherwise I'm going to run out of time. But we can't have that. Okay, let's arm our spoilers. takeoff config normal. We can now turn off the APU bleed, of course, and the APU because we're running on the power of the engines, no longer on APU. Oh, Tim's off. We'll have to have a race. Right, feet on rudder pedals. Parking brake off. Let's see if we can hear those engines as we... Oh, yeah, that sounds so good. That sounds incredible. I don't know where they got those sounds from, but 11 out of 10 on the sounds. I can only hope that the A330NX follows suit, because that's the one thing. That's the one thing that gives me pause about the Phoenix. It's like, yeah, the Phoenix is expensive, but the sounds, it sounds so good. That's the one thing that makes me think maybe I should just get it. There's a lot of money. Okay, so we need to go nice and slow because we are a big, heavy plane today. We're not a nimble little A320. Slow and steady wins the race on the taxi, I think. I'd love to know where they got the sounds. I'll tell you what, it feels good on the rudder pedals too, doing the steering. And of course the irony is that we are having much better performance here on a 3070 than we did on our 4070. All thanks to that driver rollback, I think. Okay, so right turn here, and then that takes us all the way down to the runway, runway 18. Just going to creep along. It's funny, it's like the same old systems, well, the same old systems, there's obviously differences, not to sound ungrateful for what we have in the A320, but you know, it does feel very similar until you start moving the thing. It's just so much bigger. Any issues with performance? Well, let's turn on the FPS. Keep in mind I am capped at 30 FPS anyway. And you can see there's no issue there. The GPU is quite happy. As per usual, the issue is my main thread on my CPU. Welcome to the stream, Macro, by the way. Nice to see you. When I turn VSync off on a good day, I might get 42, 43, 44 FPS. So, I would say no issues so far. Initial altitude is 8,000. That's weird. Why did it not say that? Got 800, then straight to 290. It's very weird. Good stuff, Tim. I will be catching you up momentarily. Who's going to go faster, me or you, I wonder? If I just leave it in managed and, yeah, don't try and push it. What I want to see on final, and this may give us a rubbish landing depending on how I do it, is in the old version. You know, you used to get like, you get the call outs like 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. In the versions prior, it always used to be 10 was basically the ground. So you think 10, fine, I've got another 10 feet, bang, and then that, obviously you'd get a hard touchdown. So I don't know whether that's going to be the case in this one. Hoping not. I am hoping not. Well, that's weird. That's weird. I wonder why mine didn't do that. Oh well, let's not dwell on it. Let's not dwell on it. Oh, those engines sound so good. They sound so good. Well, it's got the cruise right at least, Tim, because I'm at 290, like yourself, so... So I think we can jump on right at the back here. Yeah. Give ourselves a nice run up. Oh, okay, that could be why. Yeah, fair enough. Right, let's get our map on so you can see where we're going along the way. Actually, let's not, because it's going to get in the way of things. Let's hold short here for a moment. Parking brake on. Landing lights on. Good there. Don't need runway turn-offs because it's middle of the day. Let's just put this into TARA.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
Takeoff config is normal. Don't think I'm forgetting anything, but I've got this nasty feeling I am. I'm not using any checklist today. Alright, let's go and line up. Okay, so probably just going to enable autopilot almost immediately because there's no real turns for us to do out of here, and then we can just start looking out the window and taking the views and all of that good stuff. Right, that's us lined up, that's good. Tray tables up. Seatbelts on. Let's go. Engines to 40%. Hold it on the brakes. Wow, that really does sound like a A330 too. And rotate. That was very dramaless, wasn't it? Positive rate, gear up. Wow, that does look nice. Why does it say TO inhibit? Okay, leave us back into climb. Yeah, do I have live weather on or off? I never checked that. No, it's off. I thought it was on. Okay, we'll wait for that to load in a second and throw us around. Okay, so speed is in auto. We are climbing to flight level 290, passing through 3,500 feet. Don't worry, Tim, it happens to the best of us. Wow, that really does sound like an A330 as well. Reminds me of when we flew to New York. Just like, what does that sound? So good. Love it. Well, fingers crossed. So far, so good. OBS is not complaining. OBS has not crashed, so that's always good. Sim has not crashed yet. I'm daring to dream that my technical issues are behind me. Okay, let's go to standard altitude. What's going on here then? Why have we got this little line and why are we not tracking that? What's going on there then? What was that all about? Okay, let's get rid of these. Flaps up. Maybe I missed one of the waypoints during our initial climb. It's more or less a straight out departure, so I'd be surprised. Yeah, Tim, I was thinking it was a bit low as well, but you know, SimBrief knows best, I guess. That's pretty good, huh? Pretty good indeed. Let's get our map on. What river is that then? That looks like a fairly major river, doesn't it? Anyway, it is coffee time. I brought out a flask of coffee, so I don't need to go in and make it. I wanted you to backtrack as well. That's weird, isn't it? Just trying to work out what views I've still got set. The shortcuts. I've got the wing, engine, other side, and then those. Oh, what, like those USB heated things? I don't know, I'm never sure. Like, we've got one of those coffee machines. Well, I don't know what they're like, cafetières, where you put the grounds in the top and the water drips through into a little jug onto a heated plate. And that's like plugged into the wall. And even that goes cold pretty quick, even with the heated plate, so I don't know. Right, how do we get... Is it possible to get weather on our ND? Am I imagining that, or did that actually become a thing? I don't know what that button does. Nor that, nor that. Possible, yeah, okay. Where did I hear that then? Got some decent views going past the Alps, I think, shortly. Kind of going to skirt around the edge of them. $11.25. All right, let's see what mine says. UTC 1045, which would make that 11:45 4 now. You're 20 minutes ahead of me. Keep an eye on that. Be interested to see if I can catch up. Well, if you leave it in managed and I leave mine in managed, I guess we'll see kind of what they would do on their own. That could be quite interesting. Cloudy up there. This is such a cool aircraft. Very, very glad that it's in the sim. Very thankful. Considering it's free. And you know, it comes from good stock, as it were. A330NX. So what's the plan on the way down? What, level 290. And it wants us down to straight down to 5, then 4, 4, then we take control and bring ourselves in. That should be good. It's a shame we don't have more of a stepped descent. It'd be quite cool to see how it managed that.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again from the flight deck, your captain speaking. We've just reached our cruising altitude for the flight. As it begins to settle in, I do want to remind you to please keep your feet elbows.
Still no sign of my refund for the 4070 yet. I'm starting to get worried.
Also, one more reminder to please refrain from congregating near the front galley where the flight deck door is located. Thank you.
Still impatiently waiting for the A380. Yeah, that's going to be something special, isn't it, that one? Just slightly concerned where I'm going to fly it. That's the only thing. Yeah, that's the thing we have to remember, really, isn't it? They are volunteers. I kind of admire the fact that they're just like, no, we're not telling you. Because we're volunteers and we're not going to be held to a deadline. You've got to respect that. That's it'd be very easy to get swept up in it all and feel the pressure of the community. Triple 7 from PMDG should be good though. Looking forward to that. And then eventually their 7.4. Because I'm guessing they're going to do a 7.4, 7.400? Which to me is like the canonical 747. That's like the default 747. If you say 747, that's what I think of. Not necessarily the Dash 8. Similar, it's like with the 737. You say to me 737, my mind goes to a 737-800. Not a 600, not a 700, not a 98, because that's the one you go on holiday on. So it's like, well, most people do. Yeah, 400 series is cool. It's like the classic, isn't it? Classic. So glad I got to go on one of those when we had the chance. Because I think you'd struggle now. Yeah, I think most people just want to fly the things on the sim that they go on holiday on. For the most part. You know, if you go to the airport, what do you see? That makes sense. Of course it makes sense. Yeah, no Alps for me, just clouds. Weston, what sort of FPS are you getting with this new CPU then? Because you have a 3070, am I right in remembering that correctly? Alright Tim, I'll be on the lookout. I'm still quite a way away yet. There will be a right hand turn in quite a while. At that point, probably start seeing them at the left side of the aircraft. Nemos. How far away are we from Nemos? Okay. About 85 miles. I'm so pleased the sim hasn't crashed or the OBS hasn't crashed. It's a great weight off my mind. So old version of OBS, old Nvidia driver. Sim is obviously up to date. If you imagine that like a little Venn diagram, that little bit in the middle, that's where the good stuff is. Let's just check on the old FPS. Hopefully it's holding strong. Yeah. So again, we're limited to 30. But of course, it's quite happily managing that. I think maybe just running my PC almost like on the ragged edge at 4K was not a smart move. I know it's 4K with DLSS, but it's not quite the same as raw 1080p, is it? And even then, like, I was running at 4K, and then OBS was having to crunch that 4K down to 1080p, encode it, then send it to YouTube. So by keeping the whole pipeline at 1080p, I think has helped as well. Which is good. Makes me wonder if I should just sell the 4K TV I'm on and grab like a 32-inch 1080p monitor or something like that. One that's got G-Sync or FreeSync ideally, because that's what this TV does not have. So you've either got to be reliably hitting 60 and turn on VSync, or lock it to 30. So as not to get any tearing. Of course, otherwise, like if I was getting like 44, 43, 42 FPS at the moment and I started panning around, it'd start tearing. Start tearing a lot. Oh, thank you, Tim. You're very generous. Appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. Hopefully we'll do a nice soft landing for you all. But no promises. Don't say that, Tim, you'll jinx it. Is everything under control here? No bright lights, it's always a good start. What are we, max 0.752. We could let the passengers out. It's a bit harsh keeping them in, isn't it? I still find it amazing that we have no smoking lights on a plane. It's like, of course you can't smoke on a plane. It's hard to believe that there was a time when you could. I remember a friend of my parents when I was a kid, and this is obviously going back a while. I remember airlines were starting to bring in the no smoking thing quite heavily. I remember this guy saying, oh, I always fly, I forget which airline, there's one airline. It may have been Air India, I'm not sure. Basically, I always fly that airline because they still let you smoke. That was almost like the last holdout. You just couldn't imagine it now, could you? Jumping on a plane, lighting a cigarette. Unbelievable, really. It's like you go into a restaurant and they'd say smoking or non, and you say no, like, well, say you said non-smoking, they'd put you like one table away from the smokers anyway. So it's like, well, what use is that? Very strange. No sign of the Alps yet, although there is a lot of cloud. So I do wonder whether we'll see anything at all at this rate. What about up front? Yeah. Was that a little bit of something over there? It's interesting actually how COVID has affected that. I was watching, I think it's A330 sim pilot. They're saying that it used to be commonplace that you would turn off the air conditioning packs for takeoff, such that the plane has more power during the takeoff phase. And that made sense, like as a safety thing. Of course it does. You know, give the plane as much power as is possible for the probability of the safest outcome. Makes sense. But then you sort of throw in COVID, and then all of a sudden ventilation has a massive priority on the safest outcome for the passengers, because you never know. Someone might be more vulnerable, catch it, and get in a bit of trouble with it. So apparently it's becoming more common to leave the packs on, even though they drain a little bit of power off the engines, because of course they kind of use the bleed on the engines, the main engines, to bring in that air into the cabin. So it does affect performance. But it's a trade-off worth making, I guess. That's why quite often before takeoff you'd almost hear the fans sort of die down, and then the plane fires up and off you go on the runway. Obviously there's still situations where like a runway's not quite long enough to safely do it without, so you turn the packs off for that, just to give the plane the performance it needs to get out within the tolerances that are needed. Yeah, that's right, it will vary by airline. Coming up on Nemos. Just about see them poking through the clouds. Do I like the A320neo? Yes, I do. We fly it a lot on the channel. Love it. Specifically in the sim, the fly-by-wire A32NX is a really, really good free version of it. Awesome. Love it. Just trying to work out what view is going to likely get us the best. That's a cool view, I like that. I almost think I prefer it to that. The mini-map is not part of the sim. It's from a piece of software called Sim Toolkit Pro. So you run that alongside the sim and it connects to the sim. Hence it knows where the plane is and all that stuff. And you can load the map in a web browser if you've got a second monitor, for example. Or in my case, I overlay that web browser source into my streaming software. So it's like a little overlay in that. Cool bit of software though. That's a cool view. I like that. We're having that. That one's locked in, so we'll go. I've overwritten that one now. Tim's heading away from the Alps and heading towards the sea. So you'll be passing Barcelona out the right hand side in not too long. Question, I'm new on Flight Sim and my question is, when do I know when I have to start the approach? Yes, your videos are very helpful. Thank you. So what you can do is look down here at your flight plan, and at the bottom it's kind of pinned to the bottom regardless of where you're scrolling up and down through your waypoints. Pinned at the bottom is where you're going. And you can see it's 518 miles to our destination, 517 now. So if you're in cruise, there's a sort of quick and easy way of doing it. Look at your flight level. So we're at 29,000 feet. So take the 29, multiply that by 3 and add 10. And that is roughly how many miles you need to descend from cruise to get down to your destination. So 29 times 3, 87, add 10, 97. Roughly speaking. Or, if you need to be at a certain altitude by a certain waypoint, you've got a top of descent calculator. So if we're at 29,000 feet, and we want to get down to, I don't know, 7,000 feet for a certain waypoint, and we want to do that at 2,000 feet per minute, tells us 74 miles. Also, as you get nearer, and this will apply in the A320, I know I'm in the A330, but it's similar stuff. Press the LS button for landing system. And then as you get nearer the airport, if you've programmed an ILS in your flight plan, you'll get some little purple diamonds appear here, which will guide you in once you get close. Have a good day at work. Hope it all goes well. Thank you for stopping by, appreciate it. I hope that helps okay. Hopefully I answered your question properly. Wait, I thought I was down on the coast then. Of course, that's a lake, isn't it? You're on 24 left. I'm on, what am I on? 06 left. 06 for me. Oh, hey, Jalise. Sorry, I missed you up there. How you doing? Congrats on 4K. Thank you very much. Still feels weird. Very weird indeed. 4,000 people. Imagine if they all like stood outside my house. I'd be like, whoa. That's a lot of people. Right, let's see if I can replicate that engine view on this side. Yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it? Why we've got different runways. Qantas, Heathrow to Perth. There you go, Weston, off you go. See you in 18 hours. Let's get that Intel CPU to stretch its legs, shall we? Weston, what FPS are you getting with the new CPU? Take it easy, okay? Thanks for stopping by. Maybe see you again soon. It's a cool view of the Alps. Try a flight in the Vision Jet. I feel like I've heard of the Vision Jet, but sitting here now, I'm not entirely sure I'm familiar with what it actually is. How fast are we going? Let's have a quick look. There you go. I've just got it in managed. So it's kind of doing what it wants to do based on the cost index and things like that. It's a Cirrus plane, a small private jet. Okay. I'm surprised no one's made like a Gulfstream yet. Maybe they have and I just don't know about it. Right, folks, I'm going to be back in like 2 minutes, okay? Wessam, you're in charge of the airplane. Alright, I'm back. We're now relieved of duty, Wessam. Turbulence over Barca. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. That is a spectacular view. Yeah, I suppose the thing there with that is that everyone in the sky is a professional. Pilots are professionals, the ATC is professionals. And then you get on the road, trust me, not everyone is a professional on the road. It certainly doesn't act like one. Oh yeah, we go right over Marseille, don't we? So am I right in thinking that this now has VNAV? I think it does. Wow, look at that. It's awesome. So I guess they must have taken that from the experimental version or the dev version of the A320 and sort of fast forwarded a little bit. So how does that work then? Because I've never actually... Going down to 5,000, aren't we? So if I put 5,000 in there and do it at managed, is it going to descend us? It is, isn't it? We don't want it to do that.
From the flight deck, ladies and gentlemen, as you may have noticed,
We have not done our descent.
Down to our destination. Now would be a good time to wrap up any business you need to take care of as we prepare for approach. If you are up, once you return to your seat, we ask that you remain seated until your aircraft arrives safely at the gate. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for right.
Okay, so that really wanted to descend us, didn't it? So do we then have top of descent markers? I'm not seeing anything to indicate that it does. How weird. Get rid of the map and enjoy the last little bit of the Alps view, shall we? That's weird, I couldn't see any top of descent markers. How's the FPS with all the Alps in the distance, I wonder? Yeah, no problem. Like, the GPU's barely breaking a sweat, is it? Okay, so where are these top of descent markers then? Because to me that didn't behave like the experimental build of the A320 did. You'd have like a waypoint in here for like top of descent, and you'd have a little marker up here, which is unusual. What's the weather looking like? And 13. Still nothing on the ND though, is there? Because here, like, Palma's basically here, so you're going to have to do top of descent way before that. I'd expect a little kind of, one of those little lines of a, almost like a little tick. You know the thing I mean. Oh, hey, Nick. We've just passed the Alps, as you can see. Although that scenery does look a bit blurry, doesn't it? Could do with being popped in a little bit, in my opinion. I think the flight suggestion thing is going to be, I mean obviously people can suggest whatever they want, but I think I'm going to do that as a members perk, and that they get priority for their routes where possible. Like if they suggest a 17-hour flight, I'm probably not going to do that, but yeah. If a 2-hour one is suggested, I could probably do that for them. Or maybe even if they want to see a landing at a certain airport, I could do that just as a video, not necessarily a live stream. Wow. A little bit confused then about how to do the VNAV on this, if I'm being completely honest. Seen from destination data, isn't it? Maybe it's because I went into descent mode and it confused it. I'll pop it in anyway. Can't hurt, can it? 1012, 70 and 13. Oh, the wind's shifting. 1012, 70 and... is it 13? 24.12. I'll just put 200 in radio for now. So VAP is 135. Transition 7,000 feet. A few more bits to sort out on my end, Tim, then it'll come. My issue is time. It's always my issue. It's like I've got very limited windows to do anything for this channel. I've got quite a lot going on outside of this in real life, as it were. I find if I want to do one thing, I have to sacrifice another. So it's like if I want to do a video, I have to sacrifice a live stream, or if I want to do other bits, I have to sacrifice something else. It's tricky. Yeah, I'll be doing it, Tim. There's not a huge amount to do on the Discord side, it's just I want it to go alongside the memberships. And all to go live together. I think people overthink Discords a lot. Like a lot of the Discords I'm in, they're massively complex and everyone just chats in general. So, you know. That's a good question, Nick. When are we going to fly the 747? That is a good question. Oh, we're over the sea. I did wonder if that's the coastline down there. Yeah, I think with the Discord you just don't really need to overthink it. Even if you do overthink it, people will just do what they want to do anyway, probably just chat in general. It's like there's a university, I think. They had like a new building made. And obviously around the new building was a load of grass, and they intentionally didn't put any paths in, like lay any kind of tarmac concrete paths for like a year, because they just let the students walk where they naturally wanted to walk. Because you know what it's like, you put down a lovely paved path or whatever, and then people find a shortcut and they just do that, and then you've got like this little trampled bit across your grass. I think there's definitely an element of that with Discord too. If you have too many channels as well, it almost gets like, oh no, you can't talk about that in here, you have to talk about that over there, and it's like, but we've already started talking about it, now it'll be weird to go over to the other place. I could see like a flight requests channel, that sort of thing, or suggestions. That makes sense to keep it in there just for ease of being able to look back through the suggestions, but I think everything else really should be general. Maybe another one for notifications about, like, if I put a new video live, I could put notifications in there, that sort of thing. That is Marseille down there, isn't it? You can just see Marseille Airport between the left-hand edge of the screen and the engine, I think. Still confused about the VNAV situation. Because we have got nothing, absolutely nothing to indicate top of descent or... Okay, so yeah, okay, so by C, is that CDP or COP? CDP. Need to be at 5,000. $82 miles to descend from 29,000. So how many miles is it as the crow flies? 207. Okay. So we'll keep an eye on that when it gets down to about 80. we'll start our descent down to 5,082. Oh yeah, so the outer fuel tanks are doing their cross feed at the moment. So the outer tank is feeding into that one, so it can obviously get drawn into the engine. Good times. You took a descent already? Wow, you're way ahead of me. Yeah, so the fix, Nick, was a little bit convoluted. So the issue was, I think the newest version of OBS, which is the streaming software I use, that was crashing because of the map and the bit at the top. Because that is actually a web browser source. So you sort of overlay it on top of the stream. So really I could just go to an address in my web browser and bring up that map as like a massive map if I had the thing full screen on a second monitor, but I overlay it on the streaming software and squeeze it down so it fits. And the fix was just rolling back to an older version of OBS, because the new version did not like it at all. Did not like it. So I was saying earlier, you sort of go through the last 2 weeks, we've gone from a 3070 to a 4070. The sim kept crashing. Tried to roll back the drivers to a version that is known to be good. Couldn't do that with the 4070 because it was too new and the driver was too old. Take the 4070 out, send it back, put the 3070 back in, roll back the drivers. That stopped the sim crashing and restored our performance. But OBS kept crashing. So losing the map and the stats at the top with the new version of OBS stopped it crashing, which kind of isolated the issue. Then rolling back to an old version of OBS seems to have allowed me to reinstate that. You're way ahead of me. Way ahead of me. I've only just got out to sea. So yeah, it's been a bit of a 2 weeks really in terms of technical issues, but I think now we've got it fixed. Also, the issue we had on the last stream was I was getting messages saying that my encoder was overloaded. So I've taken my 4K TV, I've fixed its resolution to 1080p, so it's basically a quarter of the pixels now the graphics card has to drive. Sim is also running at 1080p, OBS is capturing the game at 1080p, encoding it at 1080p, sending it to YouTube at 1080p, so everything along the pipeline is 1080p. Which is a bit of a shame to have lost the whole 4K thing, but I'm just not sure it was worth it, the amount of problems it was causing. I was saying earlier, I'm tempted just to sell the TV, the 4K TV. I might be able to get like 150 to 200 for it, and with that I could get a maybe 32-inch 1080p G-Sync monitor. Right, how are we looking? Almost 100 miles. So I think basically once we get past Verso, that's going to be my top of descent point, I think. I don't suppose anyone in the chat has flown this aircraft yet, this version of it yet. Curious about the callouts, because I think before with the old version where it'd be like 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, and then at 10 it would almost, you'd almost touch down immediately at 10. I wonder if that is because its reference point for like the bottom of the plane, i.e. the landing gear, is where it would be had it been an A320, because obviously it's a fork of the A320. So I'm wondering whether in this version it's going to accommodate its larger size. We'll see. We'll see. No time to fly back today, Nick, unfortunately. It's going to be quite tight, actually, getting in as we are, I think. It's further than I thought, this. How about the LEPA? Yeah, we should be good for time. We should be good. Yeah, we should be fine for time. It's just there's obviously no way we can get back with the time we have today. Oh wait, I'm on the stable version of this, aren't I? That's why there's no VNAV. That makes sense. That makes sense. How are we looking for fuel on board? So I make us about 45 miles from top of descent. Oh, good luck with the landing. Yeah, you get to see me make a mess of it. That make us about 20 miles now from top of descent. I suppose if you're coming in over the island, it's quite hilly, isn't it? You probably are going to get quite a lot of that. I might have it easier because I'm going out to sea and then back around. So maybe that I get away with it. We'll see. We'll see. What are the winds like? This is telling me 70 degrees and 13 knots, so 10 degree delta. Sort of coming at me from the front, headwind at 10 degrees offset. 24 degrees on the ground, so... Is that what you're actually getting as well? Now you're actually there. I'm never sure if what it says is what you'll actually see. I think that's Palma up ahead, actually. Yeah, there it is. Island in sight. Good. Strangely, I'm feeling a little bit apprehensive about this landing, only because I haven't flown a stick landing in some time now. Get the sea aeroplane next. Oh, what, that massive thing? I think I know the one you mean, Nick. Possibly. Here we go then. Down to 5,000 feet. Top of descent declared. Let's go. Alright, we are descending quite nicely. Engines rolling back. Zero 7316. Okay, that's not nothing, is it? Could be a bumpy one. Just starting to see Palma come into view a bit better now. It's quite hazy out ahead, so... Diversions. You'll be alright, you'll be able to get in there. You'll be fine. Alright, let's get seatbelts on. Damn, why did I choose to land here when it's windy? Making a rod for my own back here. Just see mainland Spain out there in the distance. Definitely getting bigger out in that window, isn't it? Seems like the plane's descending at quite a heavy rate as well. I might just go into a manual mode. Lock it at 2,000 feet per minute, otherwise we're going to be at 5,000 before we get anywhere near the place. Good luck. So of course, coming up on 10,000 feet, we will need to get our speed under 250. Okay, let's manually set the speed now at 250. See if it can get there on its own. I think it should be able to. Because it was able to descend at almost 3,000 feet per minute, and we've taken it back to 2. Cheers, Nick. Yeah, I've got a funny feeling I might need it. Okay, we've only 1,000 feet to go. Let's use some speed brakes. Just to get us down. Plenty of time to spare. There we go, there's 250. Just bring that rate of descent back a bit, help us keep at 250. Let's get our lights on. Hey, that's not bad at all. 211, take that. I'll take that. That's a good result. Okay, what is local pressure again? It is 1013. 17 and 12, so the wind's dying down a little bit, it says. 1013. Bring that rate of descent back a touch. Okay, we've got transition coming up in 600 feet. They need to be above 5,000 at this waypoint, which we will be. At 1013, I believe it was. One zero one three. So we can get down to 220 knots. Well, we've been live for 2 hours and 20 minutes, and OBS hasn't crashed, which is always good. Alright, there's 5,000. Once we get past this next waypoint, we'll go down to 4. Then we'll head on out. Love the sounds of these engines. is a nice view. No, it's Dream Beats. What's that? I don't know. Is it like a race course or something? Alright, down to 4,000. Entirely sure why I went down to 220 knots. I think I was a bit early doing that. Guess we could go back up. So as you can see, we're going to keep heading up this way, take manual control here, do a bit of a U-turn, and in we come. Nice and simple. Right, I think we'll lose the map at this point just so we can see a bit more of what's going on. I think we can all safely agree that we are we're basically here. We've arrived. I think the map's just a bit handier for when we're in cruise, just in case you want to see where we're over, roughly. I'm not sure it serves such a great purpose when we're almost at our destination. There's a lot of oval-looking racecourse things down there. I wonder what that is. Is that like horse racing? Car racing? What is that, I wonder? It's unusual to see so many of them. Still got a minute or two to go yet. Just holding it at 4,000. Hey, back just in time. Perfect timing. So it wants us to decel here, but obviously we're going to do our own thing, sort of come up here a little bit, bring ourselves back into final. I'm worried if I clear the discontinuity, it's going to like bring me in down here and give us a really tight turn and a really short final. That's my concern. Alright, so we'll go into heading select mode at this point. Let's see what the plane would like to do if we go to CF06. Yeah. Hence I didn't want to just clear that discontinuity, because look, they're trying to wrap us around really tight, isn't it? So we'll keep heading up this way until such a point that the curve kind of comes around nicely onto this waypoint. Then we'll have a nice steady final approach. It should be good. There's the airport. We'll be on the left-hand side, 06 left. Wants us at 1900 feet. About 1100 feet per minute, that should be fine. Start bringing that speed down if we can. Start at 220. We do have a tailwind though, of course, 13 knots. Oops, one. Get the landing system on, auto brake medium, spoilers armed. Let's we're in the approach phase, so if we go to manage speed at this point, it's going to try and target our approach speed of 139, which is good.
2,500.
Let's get gear down as well, that will help with the drag.
Pilot Dallas, please prepare for landing.
And let's do our temporary direct. stage of flaps out. What's that complaining about them? Fuel auto level. What's that complaining about then? So we've got 2.5 there, 2.5 there. Fuel right wing tank low level. That's a new one to me. If no fuel leak, and fuel imbalance, fuel crossfeed on, right tank pump 1 off, right tank pump 2 off. Let's say crossfeed on. Off. Okay, let's try it, shall we? Fuel mode, select manual. Where does one go for that? Fuel mode, select manual. Can't see. It's complaining again, isn't it? Alright, I think we're just going to have to live with it. It's not long now until we're going to be heading on in final. These back on. Go back to how we were. See if the approach mode works in this plane, shall we? Yeah, I can see the warning, I'm just not sure how to fix it. Once saying there's low, basically it's saying we've got low fuel warnings. So maybe we burnt more fuel than I thought we were going to. Fuel mode select manual. If no fuel leak, crossfeed on. Where do I put it into manual? That's what I don't understand. I think it would be up here, wouldn't you? Well, I think I probably need to focus on flying the plane at this moment. So we're on final, glide slopes captured. Gear down, spoilers armed, flaps full, lights are on. Yeah, I think if I try and fix it now, I'm actually going to cause more problems. Maybe I didn't select the new headwind profile in SimBrief. That could have been it. That could well have been it. Okie dokie. So we've got almost a perfect headwind. then maybe we won't go crazy on the flare. Right, feet on rudder pedals. Whoops. Feet on rudder pedals without moving rudder pedals, preferably.
1,000.
Alright, my plane. Hopefully we don't get any frame drops on final. It'd be a shame if that would happen right now. Nose down, let's go. There we go.
500. 400.
Whoa, that was a bit of a
300.
crazy descent there. This thing feels very strange.
100. 50.
This is going to be late.
40. 30. 20.
Ooh,
10. 5.
that was terrible. Way off the centre line. Whoa, that felt so different to what I'm used to. 211 feet per minute. I'll take that though. That was weird. That was weird. So we're off the centre line. Struggled, I think, to maintain a smooth approach in terms of our vertical manoeuvring. Everything just felt a bit lagged. More practice required in this, I think, for sure. That was not good. Never mind. We live and we learn. It's almost like the weight of the aircraft was a factor. I guess I was maybe expecting it to handle a bit more like an A320 because it's a lot more nimble. It sort of goes wherever you kind of point it. Whereas this, it was like... it's almost like it threw its weight wherever you put it. Very different feeling landed this one. Just arrived for the best part. I'm not sure I'd describe my landing as the best part. That was not a good landing. I'm kind of kicking myself here, actually. That was not good. But it's the first time out in this one for a little while. So we'll let ourselves off, shall we? Tempted to have another go. No worries, cheers Tim. Here we go, this gate looks good. Move, but off the centre line and a bit late. There we go, let's get to the gate. Parking brake on. APU is now available. Let's do engines off. And there we have it. I'll tell you what, let's do one more. Let's go back to the main menu. Just for a bit of fun. Just for a bit of fun. We will... Oh, where am I? There we go. We'll do an arrival, straight in, low altitude airways, ILS 06. Right, let's see if we can have another go. Just for a giggle. Let's see if we can make a better job of it. Assuming
Flight attendants, arm doors, and cross-check.
Assuming this works.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
Alrighty. So we've got auto throttle on. Landing system, that's on. Right, now we've got ourselves sorted. Let's see if we can get ourselves on the approach.
$2,500.
So we've got water brake medium, gear is down, flaps full, spoilers armed. Good times. Round two, here we go. Little bonus for those of you that stuck around. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so we're a bit high. This thing is very difficult to fly compared to the A320, I can tell you that much. If you're used to the A320, this feels
1,000.
very, very strange. It just feels so much bigger, you know?
Five hundred. 400. 300.
Still a bit high, aren't we?
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
Down you go. Oh, that's better. If anything, that was a little bit too smooth. A 110 feet per minute I could have done with sacrificing a little bit of the smoothness and just planting those wheels down on the touchdown zone a bit earlier. That was much better though. It's funny how a second time round can help. Because I was expecting it to behave the way it behaved then, whereas the first time around I was expecting it to be an A320. And of course it wasn't. That's better. I feel better about myself now. Okay, let's get that APU on, shall we? Bit heavy on the brakes there. Yeah, much happier with that second go. Sort of had it in my head how it was going to behave. It feels so much different compared to the A320. It really does. I can't emphasize that enough. Looks like an A320. All the same systems more or less as an A320. But it's just so much bigger. It's like, you've got to take that into account. All of your movements have much more like weight behind them. It doesn't have that nimbleness that the 320 does. And let's go into here. That will do nicely. I can leave today's stream feeling slightly better about my flying ability. Now we've done an extra landing just to satisfy my ego. There we have it, folks. We have arrived. Well, I very much enjoyed that flight. Just the right amount of time. Well, I say just the right amount of time. Slightly on the long side. I almost didn't have time to fit the whole flight in, but we've arrived just in the nick of time. So thank you all very much indeed. Thank you for your company. And not sure when we'll be live next. Maybe tomorrow night, maybe not. I'll see. In the meantime, take the very best care of yourselves. And once again, thank you very much indeed. And I'll see you next time.